Hello fellow writers, readers and lovers of books and coziness. Welcome to Portugal. If you're new here, my name is Barbara. I moved to Portugal end of 2019 and I'm a fiction writer. My books have been published since 2020 and were translated in both English and French. On this channel, I take you along on my writing journey. I share with you the books I read and show you the coziest and most beautiful spots in Portugal while drinking lots of tea and lattes in my writing cabin. But today is special. Today I will talk to you from a totally different location. Let me explain why. Hi, I don't know how this is gonna work out. As you can see, we're in a totally different location than usual. Welcome, by the way, welcome to my new video. I am in my car currently. I am in my car because I didn't make it to the cabin today. Why did I not make it to the cabin today? Well, first of all, I got up this morning and we did not have any running water at home. Now, this is something that happens quite regularly in Portugal, same as electricity cuts. Quite common here. It happens for an hour, maybe two. So this time it had begun at midnight last night, and when I woke up at 5:15, yes, you heard that correctly, 5:15, the water wasn't back on. When I got up again at 6:30, the water wasn't back on, and when I got up at 7:30, the water wasn't back on. And so I got into my car, drove to the nearest supermarket that opened at 8 to get some water, drinking water, because we did not have any drinking water, because we don't drink water from plastic bottles. We drink tap water. And when you drink tap water, you don't have plastic bottles in the house. I think the water came back on at around 10 o'clock. Yeah. And I ended up working from home a little bit. Then it started pouring with rain, and I had to drive my daughter to school around lunchtime. I thought maybe I can go to the cabin now while she's at school, but because it's raining so hard, now it has stopped. Yeah, well, it's drizzling a little bit. But let me show you how hard it was raining just a moment ago. Look at that. I mean, horrendous rain. The problem is that my cabin is on a slope, on a mountain, and when it rains really hard, then the roads turn into mud streams. Yeah, and mud streams are not ideal. I don't like mud streams, so that's why I decided, you know what, maybe I shouldn't go to the cabin today. So I didn't go, and that's why I'm now in my car, because I had to drive my daughter to another appointment, and now I'm waiting for her to be ready there. And I thought maybe this is a good... Oh, that was my car. Maybe this is a good time to say hello to you. So hi, how are you doing? Okay, I moved you guys a little bit because the camera is really too heavy for me to carry, so I moved to the back of the car. Oh, 50 euro cents. Hey! Yay! I want to show you a book that I read. I read it in 2 days, and that's this book. It's called Asem by Leen Dendievel. The book is in Dutch. It means breath. I bought this book in Belgium when I was there last week, because this is a book about, well, not exclusively about, but it's about panic attacks. She wrote this book because she experienced severe anxiety, hyperventilation that she wasn't aware of. This frightened her a lot. She was studying psychology. She was doing a bachelor, I think, in psychology. And then out of her knowledge and out of her interest in the subject, because of her personal experience, she decided to dive into the phenomenon of panic attacks and anxiety. Where does it come from? Why do so many people suffer from it? What triggers it? What can we do about it? How do people cope with it? So she interviewed a bunch of people that were experiencing those attacks, but also professionals. And I love how the book was designed. This is, by the way, guys, This is the very, very first time that I, Barbara de Smit, annotated a book. Wow! So Leen, if you see this is a big compliment. This is a book that I decided I needed to annotate because I wanted to go back. Some passages really struck me as being very recognizable. Yeah, maybe I should also tell you why I wanted to read this book. On a more personal note, I myself have experienced a lot of anxiety, and I've been thinking about it a lot lately. I was thinking first that it was COVID that had triggered it, but to be honest, when I think back and when I look back to the past, then I think COVID didn't trigger it at all. It made it worse, probably, but I've been struggling with anxiety for a very long time already. And I just wasn't aware of it. I was very good at coping. I was very good at hiding, and I still am. Getting better and better. But the anxiety is getting worse and worse also. So the older I get, the more difficult it becomes to hide it because it's so strong. And well, I'm not going to get too personal. I think this is personal enough. I am a notorious oversharer, so thank God for editing. I can edit anything out that I blurt out now that I shouldn't. But let's say that I myself wanted to know what the hell is going on with me and what can I do about it. So I said I read this book in 2 days. I really loved it. It's funny, I finished it yesterday. And today, when I went on to Instagram, I wanted to send a DM to Leen, the writer. And then I saw that she posted just today, she will be releasing a new book the 22nd of November. And we're now the 15th, so that's in exactly 1 week. Less than a week? No, 1 week. Maths. So in 1 week she'll be releasing a new book. I'm not sure if it's an entirely new book or if it's a new version of this one. I'm also gonna ask her if there are any plans on translating it, because I'm talking about it now to you guys, but of course if you don't understand Dutch you cannot read it. So I'm going to try to translate simultaneously while reading it in Dutch. An animal is conditioned by nature. We humans are not animals. We are a kind of animal that doesn't really completely align with itself. We are a bizarre creature that doesn't 100% fit into nature anymore. We live between nature and culture. And that's why life for us is problematic. We are conscious of our existence, and we have to create order in that existence. We have to give it meaning ourselves. Now that's a very interesting thought. I mean, yes, that's absolutely true. That's a big difference between us and animals. We don't live by our instincts, and we are looking for meaning all the time. That's one of the hard things of being human, right? Knowing that you're here, but not knowing why. Okay, the next one is about trauma, and about the book talks also about how kids that have experienced trauma will be more susceptible to stress later in life. A child doesn't interpret trauma as trauma from the beginning. A stressed little body is something that it knows because it's always in that state. And the child will always, if it's a life-threatening situation or not, be more alert, restless, and less relaxed. Actually, the child has already been programmed into being fearful and stressed. This kind of programming results in being, as an adult, more stressed than someone who hasn't been programmed to it. So, as a matter of fact, you will look for stress because this is your state of being. You will keep the stress alive as an adult. And this really struck me because it's something that I do. I keep myself stressed all the time, and I don't know why I do that. And I'm wondering now if any of you recognizes this feeling, because I have the feeling that I cannot ever be relaxed. I always have to find a way to be stressed or something. It's really weird. So fascinating that I'm not the only one, because it's in the book. Oh yeah, there's also a chapter about being a perfectionist, and I never see myself as a perfectionist, but then sometimes I do. And Leen says, but a perfectionist is not perfect, quite on the contrary. He tries to mask the imperfection, and that he succeeds in perfectly. The older you get, the more masks you will have. I recognize myself in this one too. I don't want to be perfect, I think, but I don't want to fail. Maybe that's the same thing. I have no idea. Maybe it is. I don't want to fail. So I will always give the impression that I'm good at something, if that makes sense. And if I think I'm not good at something, I will not attempt it. That's why I don't surf, because I think I will suck at it. Sleep. Oh, so very important. Lack of inner peace is the basis of sleeping problems and hyperventilation. Sleeping problems are often a sign of the tension you experience during the day. Saying this, it's not so strange when I say that sleeping disorders often happen in comorbidity, so at the same time, with anxiety and stress disorders. Anxious people have much longer nights than other people. So I also suffer from sleeping problems, sleeping disorders, but that's only been the last 2-3 years. So I blame that still on COVID, but well, maybe it's just me, I don't know. Leen talks about the holistic approach, moving, walking, something that I do a lot, eating healthy, eating the right vitamins, supplements, stuff like that. So yeah, she also is very positive about curcuma. I don't know how you say it. We say curcuma. And I bought myself a big bag of curcuma. It's good for so many things, and I use it like when I'm making a dish that requires it, but I don't eat enough of it. So my intention is to have curcuma now every day. I'm eating a smoothie anyway every morning, so at the moment I'm putting 1 spoon of spirulina in it, and now I'm going to add some curcuma as well. So I will let you know how that helps me. I do recommend this book. I think I'm going to reread it, see what I can do to improve my my anxiety. Let's chat about NanoWrimo, but let's be honest, okay? I suck at NanoWrimo. I suck because today is the 15th of November, so we're halfway through. And I have written the whopping amount of 2,000 words. Now, I am very sure that I am not the only one. Disclaimer, I already said beforehand I wouldn't do the 50,000, I would go for half of it. Because I knew I wouldn't have a lot of time, because I would be traveling to Belgium. I had just finished the first draft of Alone 2, of my thriller. So I knew I should give myself some slack. So I cut it in half. But even then, I failed miserably. Does this mean that the book that I'm writing will never come into existence? No, of course not. And I'm sure that if you're now being frustrated because you haven't written the amount of words that you wanted to, I'm sure that you will get there. NanoWrimo is a good thing because it keeps you accountable. But it's not all or nothing. It doesn't mean that if today, the 15th of November, you haven't met your halfway goal, that doesn't mean that now you suck. I mean, no, it means you suck at this plan of NanoWrimo, but that's okay because you can always start again. And you can always clear your schedule another time in another week and do this amount of words. It's crazy. I know it's crazy to write like 1,000 to 2,000 words a day for a whole month. That's insane. And don't blame yourself if you couldn't do it, because most people cannot do it. And the fact that you have prioritized other things just means that you had other priorities, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. Life goes on. Life is not only about writing. If there was no life, you couldn't write about it, right? So you need stuff to happen in your life, and I know stuff happened in mine, and I had to do some prioritization. I prioritized other stuff, but I will do it because I made a commitment to myself that I would write this feel-good novella, and I have time for that. So I'm not stressing out. I feel just a little tiny bit of frustration maybe, and I'm sure that you can recognize that when you said you were gonna do something and now you're not doing it. But hey, what am I even saying? November isn't over yet, so we'll see. We'll see. Today was another example. I mean, I should have gone to the cabin, but I didn't because of having no water, and then my whole schedule flew out of the window, and then the pouring rain. I had to drive my daughter here and there. I'm already proud of myself that I'm filming in the car, which is pretty scary because people can see me if they pass by. You know, it's fine. It's fine. So yeah, I suck at NanoWrimo, and you maybe, because you're watching this, maybe you suck at NanoWrimo too. So let's suck at NanoWrimo together. I know you don't need NanoWrimo to write a novel, okay? I published 2 books in my own name, and I published 2 books under another name, traditionally published. So don't worry, don't worry. NanoWrimo is just part of it. NanoWrimo should be fun. It should be a way of setting goals together with other people and cheering them on. And please do that if you have friends that right now are suffering big time because they have to write so many words every day. So please cheer them on and celebrate with them. And if you don't make it, you'll make it someday. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. When 1st of December comes and you haven't reached the total word count that you wanted to reach, just make a new plan. Just make a new plan and then stick to that. And if that doesn't work out, well, you will always be further ahead than you would have been if you hadn't made a plan, right? I wrote 2,000 words. If it wasn't for NanoWrimo, I wouldn't even have written those 2,000 words, right? So yeah, you'll get there. Okay, I think that's going to be it for this video. It's a bit of a weird one, I'm sorry, but hopefully next time we'll be back in the normal beautiful cabin surroundings. So thank you so much for watching, and for watching until the end even. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up or subscribe. I really appreciate it. If you subscribe now, you're one of my very first, and I will never forget you. I promise, I will never forget you. So thank you, obrigada. Ciao.